Welcome back in, everybody, to day 5 of Unicorn Week. We've had 4 incredible days of whiskey so far. Today is the 3rd day in a row we're going to be talking about a member of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. This is William Larue Weller. Now, year after year, William Larue Weller is one of the most sought-after bottles in the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. Year after year, it gets good reviews, not a lot of negative said about it. To this day, I have never tried any batch of William Larue Weller, so I can't speak to previous year's batches. This is going to be my first time trying it. But I couldn't be more excited. This is the bottle I wanted to get. Just watching other people's thoughts on it, comparing it to other members of the BTAC line and just rare whiskey in general, this was the one that seemed to fit my flavor profile from everyone else. So I'm really excited to try it. As you can see, I was fortunate enough to get a bottle. The sample today was provided by the legend, Christopher David. He's pretty much provided this whole week for me. And thank you. Thank you so much. I am very excited. Let's talk about William Larue Weller a little bit. Now, this does come out of Buffalo Trace Distillery, released once a year around October, November time generally. And this is one of, I believe it's 5 bottlings in the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. So William Larue Weller, George T. Stagg, Sazerac 18, Eagle Rare 17, Thomas H. Handy. 5 Mount Rushmores of whiskey right there on that list, honestly. But this is one that is actually a part of their wheated mash bill. So think of things like the normal Weller, Special Reserve 12-year, even things like Pappy Van Winkle. Now, Pappy Van Winkle is all produced out of Buffalo Trace Distillery, which we actually reviewed a Pappy on day 2. Pappy 15, if you haven't seen that episode yet. It's a good one. So I'm curious to see how similar this bottle is going to be to Pappy 15. This William Larue Weller is 128 proof, so 64% ABV. And actually, it's 15 years, 6 months on this bottle. So Pappy 15 compared to a 15-year William Larue Weller, it's going to be really interesting to see the differences and which one I like more. Let's get right into color here. That's enough on the background. I'm so excited for this bottle. This is the one bottle that's been my true ultimate unicorn. Now, even though I never tried it, I hope it lives up to the hype. I really do. Let's look at color first here. Nice medium to dark caramel color in my light. Legs are, I'd say, a medium amount of legs, not a massive amount of legs sticking to the side of the glass, but there are definitely legs on the glass. As I mentioned, this is a wheated mash bill, so 16 to 18% wheat in general. We'll see if those notes come through. Let's go into it. Happy day 5, everyone. Oh, wow. Wow. I could just sit here literally all day and just smell this glass. That is the creamiest, richest, most bold nose I've ever gotten out of a Buffalo Trace product, I think. It smells thick with 2 C's. That's how it smells. Like, it's just rich and dense and dark. The oak is definitely coming through for me on this year's release. A lot of years past, watching people review, they talk about a lot of fruity sweetness, especially with the wheated mash bill. Fruitiness can come through. I would still say it holds true with the Buffalo Trace profile. You know, where it's got that cherry note, but the cherries are not really overwhelming the nose. The oak is also not overwhelming the nose. I mean, this does not smell 15 years, but the oak is present. It just seemed very well balanced with the sweetness. This is almost like a cinnamon roasted almond that's just drizzled in caramel. That's what this smells like. And with that oak balance, man. Wow. This might be my favorite nose I've ever had on a bourbon. Someone on Facebook actually this week said, you know, I will watch this week hoping you're going to be honest in your reviews. And I told him, like, there's literally no reason for me to bullshit any of this. None of this was sent to me by a distillery. This was all out of the kindness of Chris's heart. He has no pony in the game either. He's just a nice guy. So it's really, I just want to be honest about this, and this truly is an amazing nose. Like I said, let me go into a sip first before I do any more. All right, let's have a sip of this, everyone. Cheers. My God. Incredible. Just an incredible first sip. Like, the finish is still going. The back of my palate is just lit up in flavor and bursts of those delicious caramels, butterscotches. The oak, this is not a drying oak by any means. This is that juicy, fruity oak. Very, very sweet oak. You know, I describe it as sweet oak, but it's got like the fruitiness and oak together on the back of the palate that just leaves your mouth salivating so much. That's happening right now. My gosh. Think of like oh man, this is like a chocolate covered cherry. I'm getting chocolate notes out of this. The cinnamon is prevalent for me a lot on the palate. That cinnamon and that oak. Kind of that toasted cinnamon, almond, cherry a little bit more on the palate than I described on the nose. But cherry, cinnamon, and chocolate. For some reason, it's almost like a bitter, dark chocolate. But the balance on this drink is just amazing to me. You're getting the delicious oak. The mouth coating is just everywhere. It's really covering the whole palate. Let's go one more sip, and we'll go into our conclusion here. It's hard to believe this is 64% ABV. You can definitely tell it's high proof, but versus the alcohol burn you expect from something really high proof, it's just a burst of flavor. My mouth cannot stop salivating. Like, that's what's happening right now. It's just stuck to the side of my palate. It's just making my mouth salivate, needing more. This may be the best whiskey I have ever had. Just on initial tasting. This did sit in the glass and open up for about 15 minutes. But I cannot think of another whiskey that is better than this, honestly. For what I like, the flavors that come through, the balance of the sweetness and oak, the mouthfeel, finish, which is a big, huge thing for me with whiskey. I really don't know of a whiskey that comes close to this. Pappy 15, same specs. I think this just completely blows it out of the water, honestly. Now, this is amplified in proof quite a bit from that Pappy 15. I think the Pappy 15 was in the 50 range, 50-somethings. So maybe that's part of the reason I enjoy it much more. I get even more punch of flavor. The finish on this is just so good, even compared to the Pappy 15. The Pappy 15 left a little bit of that astringent, drying oak. Still a very, very good whiskey. A very good whiskey. But wow. Just wow. I don't know what to say about this other than this is going to finish extremely high in my Whiskey of the Year awards, which is probably out now at this point. You probably have already seen it. Incredible pour. Incredible pour. And from what I've tried of the BTAC line, which is everything but the Sazerac 18 from one year or another, this is my favorite. My favorite of the whole line, for sure. This bottle retails at $99, which is ridiculous. For that value, I would pay, based on this tasting alone, I would pay probably 2 to 3 times that amount. I got my bottle, I've had a couple people asking, I've got my bottle for $159. So very close to retail, and so fortunate to have local people who help me out and look out for the people who are loyal to them. You know, it's just amazing to have people like that. It is truly a special whiskey. If you can ever find a pour of this, This is something I would probably pay upwards of 40 to 50 bucks for an ounce and a half, 2-ounce pour, I would say. I like it that much. I mean, that is a lot of money. You can get a bottle plus some for that. But I had someone ask me today, hey, is Pappy 15 worth, I forget what is the amount you would pay for Pappy 15? I said maybe 25 for an ounce. But I've seen bars that charge so much more than that. I would pay more for this William LaRue Weller. I would be extremely curious to try previous year's releases, some of the hazmats that they've had of this next to this to see how it holds up. Like I said, I don't have a huge amount of experience with William LaRue Weller. It's my first one. Tried a lot of high-proof weeded bourbons out there, though, and this takes the cake for sure. Get a sample if you can. Drink Weller 107 and just imagine it completely amplified. So good. Thank you all so much for joining me for day 5 of Unicorn Week. This whiskey was incredible, and day 5 was a lot of fun. Tomorrow, we have got another member of the Buffalo Trace family, and it is in relation to something we tried earlier in the week. So make sure you are sticking around for that tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. I'm really excited to try it to see how it compares to these other expressions we've tried. If you have not already checked out my Patreon page, please do check that out. Just want to give a quick thank you to all my patrons who support the channel. It's because of you I can do things like this, go on my distillery trips, and bring that kind of content to you. So if you're interested in that, you can support for as little as $3 a month. But I appreciate y'all for being here. I will see you tomorrow morning for another incredible whiskey, I hope. We'll find out together. Stay insane, everyone.